Hi, and welcome to another one of my guitar instruction videos. This lesson is I'm doing by request. I had one of my subscribers ask me to take a look at the guitar playing of a guy named Robert Belfour. I had never heard of this guy before, and CD by Robert Belfour. Apparently he plays a style of country blues which has become known as hill country blues. I'd never heard of this before. I've listened to all kinds of acoustic blues from the 20s, 30s on up, and I'd never heard of this guy. So my subscriber asked if I could figure out the songs and show him how to play it. So I'm going to do this for him, and anyone else that wants to learn, go ahead. And also, if you can figure out some of this stuff, he has a very peculiar guitar style, one that I am totally unfamiliar with. I'm just trying to figure this out from scratch, and I'm sure I don't have everything perfectly, but I think I've got some of the ideas. And so I'm going to run through each song on the CD. There's 8 or 9 songs on the CD that I have. The CD is called What's Wrong With You, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 songs. So I'm going to try to go through all of them between now and whenever and just get the gist of the songs. Now the first thing, when you listen to this guy, and there's some videos of him on YouTube, is that he's obviously playing in some kind of different tuning. And on some of his tunes it sounds like an open G or something. Some tunes it's standard, but in all the tunes he tunes down. And it's not like he tunes down to a uniform key. So like he doesn't take open G and tune to purely open F or something like this. It's like he just kind of tunes where he wants to. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm no music person. But what I found out is that the easiest way to figure out what he was doing is to listen to some of the licks and think, what key would those licks be played in? For instance, for this first song, I noticed some of the bass line and also some of the treble line sounded like being played in the key of E. And I am familiar with guys like Lightning Hopkins and Mance Lipscomb and others who played in E. But when I listened to the recording, it doesn't match up. So I did some reading online and found out that sure enough, he tunes down. So I tried to use my tuner and tune to the recording, but I didn't have much luck. So instead what I did is I just took my open E, my 6th string, and I listened to the recording. The first song is called My Baby's Gone. And I noticed that he's thumping away, and I could tell what key the song was in. So I took my 6th string and I tuned it to what I heard on the recording. And if I check my tuner, it's like a C sharp, but it's not exactly a C sharp. It's a little bit, it's like a C sharp that's flat or sharp. It's not on my tuner. It doesn't register exactly on C sharp, even though I'm tuned with the recording. So it's kind of weird. So if I were you, I would just listen to the recording and do what I did if you want to play along. So I tuned my 6th string, and then I just did my normal tuning technique, and I tuned my A, which is like an F sharp, then I tuned my D, which is like a B, and then I tuned my 4th string, which is an E, somewhere in the E range. It's like a step and a half below. It's a strange tuning. Then this is an A, and then this is C sharp, just like this would be C sharp. So I went through and did my tuning. You just have to fiddle around with it. And so that wasn't pretty, but I got it to to where it's an E. I'm playing the first position E chord, but it's not an E. It's like a C sharp or something. It's very strange. So anyway, that's the tuning. Almost all of his tunes that I've heard so far have used an unusual tuning. And just tuning down, apparently, for his voice. He's got a real neat voice, kind of a haunting, old school voice, and that's probably why he does that. Now, as far as the first tune, which is called My Baby's Gone, in that tune, there's a couple different things. He plays some chords. He plays a bass line, which is repetitive throughout the entire song. And then he plays some fills in between the bass runs. And he does a lot of variety with the fills. And then there's an end tag. So I'm just going to go through and I'll play you these parts. I'm not going to play the whole song because I'm not familiar with this. And I think I just botch it up. Listen to the song. It's available on YouTube, called My Baby's Gone. Now the bass line is something like this. Throughout most of the song, he's just playing a monotonic, thumping bass. So he's just using his right hand palm and setting it on the strings at the bridge and muting. And he's just thumping on that sucker throughout the whole song. And then he throws in this lick. Like that. And the way he plays it, I think he's playing the bass. Whoop. And the way I'm doing that is with my thumb pick. I think he plays bare fingers. I use finger picks, so I use my thumb, and you bend down on the 6th string at the 3rd fret. And you open 5th string. And then 2nd fret of the 5th string. Open 4th string. And then you wind up on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. So now to keep that bass going, instead of just playing it with the thumb pick, what I think maybe he's doing is getting that there and with the thumb pick, and then that with the finger pick, so he can get right back into bass. Or something like that. Actually, I'm using the thumb pick all the way to there, and then picking that note, 2nd fret of the 4th string with my index finger, so I can get right back to the bass. So you got this bass line. I think I'm hearing that correctly throughout the song. What made me think of the key of E with that when I first heard it was the pop song Mrs. Robinson by Simon and Garfunkel. They do something like that in that tune, and I thought that's what I was hearing. That's what made me think the key of E. So if you're familiar with some of the other tunings and keys and you hear these licks, that can help guide you to where they're playing. Now as he does this, he fills in that bass lick, and this is what I'm gonna show you some of the things that I picked up on. So he does something like this. So as he's playing that bass, he's gonna throw in a fill. Again, I'm not real good at this. I've never played this guy's stuff before. I'm just figuring it out. So I'm showing my subscriber, what I think he's doing, which is what I was asked to do. So the licks in the key of E, what I'm going to do is show them to you separately, the ones that I figured out. And basically, while he's playing the licks, he's thumping the open 6th string. At least that's what I'm hearing. One that I hear, it sounds like he's doing something like this, where he's going on the 3rd string, open 3rd string, 2nd fret of the 3rd string down to the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and then coming back down, doing like a quick pull off on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, open 3rd, back to the 2nd fret of the 4th. So the lick sounds like this. That's what I'm hearing. Now, I could be playing an open 2nd string, but I don't hear it. I don't hear that. I hear more of a dull. So I think he's going to that. That's just what I'm hearing. So that's one lick. Another one, I'm just kind of doing these randomly, not necessarily in order, is where he plays off the 7. Something like that. So the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. This is kind of a Lightning Hopkins, Man's Lipscomb country blues type thing. He's got this going. He's doing that same lick. But he's just going 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and then open, and then into that. There's another one. Also, when I listen to this, I hear him doing some bending. I don't know what kind of strings this guy uses, but I have real heavy strings on my guitar, mediums, D'Addario mediums, and with a 13 on the high E, so not real heavy, but heavier than light. And he does this bend, and that's a little tough to do. Whoops. Something like that. So it's basically the similar lick, but he's bending to get into it. Bending the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Something like that. And he mixes it up. He does it a couple different ways throughout the song. One bend, you might do it. I don't know if I hear that or not, but that's a possibility. Pretty much any little lick you can play out of that 1st E position, you could throw in there if you play it quick enough. Now it also sounds like he's doing, every now and then, especially toward the end of the song, a more traditional kind of Lightning Hopkins double stop like this. Which is something we can probably relate to. So in the key of E, got my 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, ring finger, or 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, and then I'm sliding down or up, then sliding that 2nd finger back up to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, basically doing that same little lick again. Something along those lines, something like that. So there's another lick. I noticed a couple others, maybe a slide into it. So maybe something like that. And he does these variations, which is really cool. You think, oh yeah, this is simple. But if you listen to it carefully, he has all kinds of little subtle variations that he throws in. So he might do something like this. Whoops. So I'm sliding from the 4th fret of the 3rd string to that 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And then doing that. I never hear it go to the high, to the E, the 1st string. Listening to that tune, it's all on the, mostly on the 3rd and 4th strings. Every now and then he includes the 2nd string, but it's got this real low type thing. Now as far as chords go, there's some other licks in there, but I think that's what I hear. You might hear do something on the bass like, possibility. Starting from the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Kind of that Born Under a Bad Sign lick. You could do all kinds of stuff. You could throw in that high string. Do kind of a Lightning Hopkins, Jimmy Rogers type thing there. So that's what I hear, and he doesn't go anywhere else. He stays right in the pocket there on the first position, E. He doesn't venture up the neck whatsoever. Not like Lightning Hopkins, where you'd have him occasionally go off on the high notes. Doesn't do that. The chords for the song, he never really plays an E shape, but the E is the main chord. So, but he never plays it. He may keep this finger anchored here. I don't know. I'd have to see him playing. I don't know what he's doing. But when he's playing out of that E, he's mostly just on the bass. I never hear the chord. Now he does go to an A7th, kind of a John Lee Hooker type sound, where he goes to the A7th and just drones on it. So you hear just an A7th chord. First finger barring the first 4 strings at the 2nd fret, and then put your pinky, or your ring finger rather, on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Now your bass becomes your open 5th, which you thump continually. I don't recall hearing that, but you could do that little lead in, take the 1st or the 6th string at the 3rd fret, bend it down, and then get the open 5th to lead into that. So you could be playing something like this. Like that. Now one thing I do hear is at the beginning of the song, and maybe in another place, he leads into that kind of starts out with the A. I'm not sure how he does that. Yeah, I'm confused. But he does like a little lead thing to get into the A7. Something like this. From the A7 back to the E. I don't know. I'm going to just move on there. Now there are a couple places in the song where it sounds like he goes to the 5, the B7. So the B7, just take the A7th, move it up 2 frets to there, and it sounds like sometimes he does a little fill in there. So the B, A7, back to the 1. So the song is mostly on the 1 and the 4, but it sounds like in a couple places he throws in a 5. Now at the end of the song he does a little kind of a end tag, and this is more traditional, like a Lightning Hopkins, but it's weird just the same. So he gets there and it's like, it just sounds like he's playing off either the 3rd or 4th frets of the 1st string, slides into it, and then slides as like a lightning type slide from the 5th to the 3rd. Something along those lines. So all in all, the song is played out of an E position and the E traditional blues scale, but he just does it in such an original, different kind of way that throws you off. I hope this is helpful, and if you're just getting into this style, I am too. And if you know what's going on here, send me some comments, give me some tips, help me out here. because this is something I'm doing for another subscriber, and I'm sure he'd appreciate any help or tips he could get from anybody else as well. I'll be back again with some my other lessons, plus some more of these Robert Belfour songs. I have to figure them out first, but look for these, in the next few weeks or so. See you again soon.